After seeing that interview, Dallas has to find a way to keep Tony Pollard. There's no way you let this guy walk in free agency at the end of the season. What's going on YouTube? It's your main man, Boys for Life, coming at you with another video. If you have yet to see that interview with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, it's going to be down in the description below. Because after watching that interview, I watched it this morning. It's been out for a couple of days. I watched it this morning. You could just see the bond that these two have together. It's like they're brothers. It's like a brotherhood there, because they also have Malik Davis, who was, when Zeke was out, basically kind of, I guess you could say, the thumper. He's smaller and like shorter, but beefy. Not like Zeke, but he is a big body type of back. Like, he's stocky. He's not tall and slender like Tony Pollard. Like I was saying, the chemistry between these two guys is just untouchable. It is amazing how far you've seen Zeke has come. It is amazing how far you've seen Tony come. I mean, we all know that in the past you've seen Tony Pollard not get so many carries, not be utilized correctly or utilized at all when it came to getting reps. Now you see Tony Pollard getting his touches, getting his reps, not just in the rushing game, but also when it comes to passes. We saw him a couple weeks ago catch that wheel route out, just dump it right over to him, wide open, took it to the house. You know, every time Tony gets on the field, something awesome happens at some point in time during those series that he's in there. You know, we get a crucial first down. He breaks for 30 yards. You know, he goes on the wheel route touchdown, or he breaks a 50-yard run. And this is all because let's face it, we've seen him. We've seen him when he's done it by himself, be by himself. Yeah, he does get those yards. But in the first game when he did it by himself, after about 15 snaps, well, he didn't even touch 15 snaps, I don't think, that time. When he was getting the bulk of the carries, when he was out there by himself, he still only amassed 14 carries. Remember, up to that point, when it was Tony's first time to take over the game and be the actual starting running back, Tony Pollard had never touched the ball 15 times when it came to being a running back. Dated all the way back to high school. He never did it in college. He never did it in his first few years as an NFL football player. It wasn't until his second game that he was able to get over 15 touches, and he was good. The first time he did, he was gassed after 14 because he was not used to being the premier back like everyone wants him to be. So, with Zeke being the thunder, Tony being the lightning, you can see not only on the football field, but in, you know, when they're doing interviews together, how they feed off of each other, the chemistry that they have. Look, Ezekiel Elliott has somewhere about 570 yards on 140 carries. Yeah, 40 carries. And remember, he missed 2 games. While Tony Pollard, on the other hand, has 761 yards on 126 carries, or 136 carries. It'll be up here. Both of them will be up here as I'm talking about them. So it looks like we're getting a little bit more bang for our buck when it comes to Tony Pollard. But, and here's a but because it's the kicker, it's like that because guess what? When Tony breaks off for his big runs, the defense is already tired out. When Tony breaks off for his big runs, it's coming when the defense is not expecting a run play. It's not expecting a run play. Like you've seen the 3rd and 8s, the 3rd and 7s, the 3rd and 9s, where Tony breaks for those big runs and he ends up getting a 30, 40-yard gain, even breaks in it for a touchdown. It's because the defense is not expecting that, and they're expecting pass play. And Tony is very explosive to where he's able to catch the defense by surprise and catch them slipping and catch them sleeping, basically. Even though Ezekiel Elliott has missed 2 games, he has about about 200 yards less than Tony right now, averaging he's averaging 4.1 yards a carry. I don't think he's on the decline the way people think he is. He's getting less touches. You know, Tony is getting around you're starting to see the touches equal each other with Zeke and with Tony. I think it was either the last game or the game before, you had Tony and Zeke both at 15 touches. Rushing the ball 30 times. I want to say that was the last game that they played. Both touching the ball 30 times. Or not Thanksgiving game, but the game before that. 30 touches. 30 touches in total. So that's what you're seeing more of, is Zeke getting less touches and Tony getting more. And the reason why this is happening is because Zeke is starting to trust Tony more. Zeke is starting to trust Tony more. Zeke knows that, hey, I don't got to come out, catch my breath, and go right back in. I can take a series or two off because Tony Pollard is such an explosive player that I can trust him being in there. And even though we may not see that he's a good blocker in the pass game, these guys are actually out there day in and day out. So if Zeke is sitting there saying, because like I said, it's all in the interview. If Zeke is even saying that he's growing as a pass blocker, then I believe him. He's growing as a pass blocker. And we've seen him from time to time get those pass blocks in big time situations. You know? I really, 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 really want Kellen Moore to utilize these guys both while they're on the field at the same time. I want more schemes with them on the field at the same time. Because if you have both of these guys on the field at the same time, it's going to be very, very, very hard for defenses to stop either one. Either one. You know, it looks like the Cowboys are kind of finding their identity with the run game. You know, they get away with, they'll shy away from it for a game. You know, it'll be a hard fought game. We either lose or we win. But at the end of the day, we always go back the following game. This game cannot be no different against the Indianapolis Colts. It has to be a heavy run game. Let the defense do what they do. And even Ezekiel Elliott said that it needs to be a heavy dose of runs, not just for next week, but going forward. They need to utilize the run game more, get a couple first downs, and keep that elite defense fresh. So that way, when it's time for the defense to step on the field, they're fresh and they can go out and do what they've been doing all season. Remember, this defense is the number one defense in the league when it comes to sacks, hurries, sacks and hurries and pressures. So everything needs to revolve around this run game. And we know that if the run game isn't working, you can always send Tony out for a pass. You can always send Zeke out for a pass. You can always fake the pass to one of them and go deep. I'm not a big trick play guy in certain situations because we've seen Kellen Moore do these trick plays at the wrong time to kill a drive. And we've seen it time in and time out. But why not add in a flea flicker here or there, you know, with Tony and Zeke in there? Because guess what? These guys are such explosive runners, whether it's they bust out of the hole fast and, you know, they have downhill speed, or they're explosive to where they're going to pop a defender in the mouth and make them think twice when they're going through the hole. So when you're doing a flea flicker, toss the ball back. And I get it. You're going to have these safeties bite. You're going to have these linebackers bite. And you're going to have CD over the top, or Gallup over the top, or Washington over the top, or OBJ if we end up getting them. Go over the top and make these big time plays. There has to be a way when we can utilize both these guys. And we've done it already. But there has to be more of these two guys being out there on the field. They have to be out in the field because when they're both out in the field, we see a lot of success with this offense. We do. I'm very excited to see what kind of game plan and what we come out with Sunday night against the Colts. Man, like I said, if y'all haven't checked out this interview, it's gonna be in the description below because this interview it's amazing. It's awesome. I love it. It's just two guys sitting there talking, and I forget the guy that did the interview. I forget what his name is. But he's been on a few ESPN shows. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the chemistry between these two guys is just simply amazing, and the Cowboys need to find a way to be able to keep both these guys at the end of the season, no matter what happens. But anyways, guys, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.